Hello students, today we are going to study about the Newton's laws of motion. Here now I am going to give some examples to you. You have to find out reason behind it. The first example is that a static object does not move without application of force. Second one example is the force which is sufficient to lift a book from the table is not sufficient to lift the table. Third one example, the fruit on the tree falls down when its branches are shaken. And fourth one example is an electric fan keeps on rotating for some time even after it is switched off. From these four examples, what we realize or which is the reason behind it? There is a simple reason, that is the every body has a some inertia. Last time we learned about the inertia property. Then Newton's first law of motion also well and good explain the property of inertia. So it is called as the law of inertia. All illustrations of inertia are the examples of the first law of motion. Now we have to study the first law of motion. For this, we have to do one experiment, that is the coin is drops into the glass. It means when we strikes the cardboard, it becomes in motion and the coin does not becomes in the motion. So the coin falls down into the glass, means coin has its original property of inertia and due to which it falls down in the glass. So Newton's first law of motion can explain this property. To explain or to understand this property very good, we have to again observe a small clip about the balanced and unbalanced force.
Of force. Forces are of two types, balanced force and unbalanced force. Let us understand it with the help of an activity. Take a wooden block on a horizontal table. If we apply a force by pulling the string X, the block begins to move to the right. Similarly, if we pull the string Y, the block moves to the left. But if the block is pulled from the both sides with equal forces, the block will not move. Such forces are called balanced forces. Balanced forces do not change the state of rest or motion of an object. Thus, the balanced force is zero.
From this clip, we understood that the in balanced force, the net resultant force is zero, and in unbalanced force, the net resultant force is not zero. With the help of this, the Newton explains his first law statement. The statement of the first law is an object continues to remain at rest or in a state of uniform motion along a straight line unless an external force acts on it. This is the statement of the first law. When an object is at the rest or in uniform motion along the straight line, it does not means that no force is acting on it. Actually, there are number of forces which are acting on a body, but these forces are cancelled one another, so the net resultant force is zero. In this way, the Newton's first law also explains the phenomenon of inertia, that is, the inability of the object to change its state of motion on its own. It also explains the unbalanced force which causes the change in the state of object at rest or in uniform motion. Means in this, the Newton's first law of motion can explain the three properties: balanced force, unbalanced force, and inertia. The example of the Newton's first law of motion is stationary train or stationary object. These are the two most important examples. Thank you. Students, today we are going to study Newton's second law of motion. Now we have to do some activity. The first activity is ask your friend to drop one plastic and one rubber ball from same height. You catch the ball. Which ball is easier to catch and why? Second one activity, ask your friend to throw a ball towards you at slow speed. Try to catch it. Then ask your friend to throw the same ball at high speed towards you. Try to catch it. Which ball could you catch with a greater ease? Why? In this both activity, the ball having the low mass and low velocity is easy to catch. Why it is happen? Because of the striking effect of the object. Here the striking effect of the object it depends upon the two factors: one, mass of the object, and second one, velocity of the object. This phenomenon of object is denoted as a momentum of the object. Here the momentum it is denoted with a capital letter P. Its definition is momentum is the product of mass and velocity of an object. Here equation becomes P is equal to mv. Momentum it is a vector quantity because it has a magnitude and it has a direction. Then SI unit of momentum is kg mass per second and CGS unit of momentum is gram centimeter per second. Now the Newton states its statement of second law. The statement is the rate of change of momentum is proportional to the applied force and the change of the momentum occurs in the direction of the force. To understand this, suppose an object having mass m and its initial velocity is u. When we apply the force F for a time t, then its final velocity becomes v and mass is m. So here according to equation of momentum, its initial momentum is mu and final momentum is mv. Here the rate of change of momentum is equal to change in momentum upon time. Then the rate of change of momentum is equal to, now here the change in momentum is calculated by taking a difference between final momentum and initial momentum. So rate of change of momentum is equal to mv minus mu upon t. Here m is taken as a common factor, so m into bracket v minus u upon t. So rate of change of momentum is equal to ma. Here a is a acceleration. Acceleration is equal to v minus u upon t. Now, according to Newton's second law of motion, the rate of change of momentum is proportional to the applied force. So ma is proportional to f. Here, converting proportional sign, f is equal to k into ma. Here k is a constant of proportionality and the value of k is 1. So equation becomes f is equal to ma. Equation becomes f is equal to ma. Means it is a final equation for the Newton's second law of motion. Then the SI unit of F means force is Newton and CGS unit of force is dyne. Now consider the objects having the different masses, but these are initially at rest, means initial velocity is 0. So initial momentum of both these objects is 0. Now we have to apply the same force on these two bodies. When we apply the same force, some momentum is created in this body. The lighter object starts moving faster than the heavier object. Here the rate of change of momentum is same, that is f, and rate of change of momentum is same according to the equation. Why it is same? Because the lighter object have the high velocity and heavier object have low velocity. So when we apply the same force on the different object, the change in momentum is same. So thank you. Hello students. Today we are going to study the Newton's third law of motion. During this study, we observe two laws before. In these two laws, Newton shows the force and its effects on the object. In nature, there are no any single force acts on any body. Means force is a reciprocal action between the two objects. The forces are always applied in pair. When one object applies the force to the another object at the same time, lateral object also applies the force on the former object. The force between the two objects is always equal in magnitude but in opposite direction. This idea is expressed in Newton's third law of motion. Here, the force applied by the first object is action force, while the force applied by the second object is the reaction force. With the help of these two, Newton states his third law. Then the statement of third law is every action force has an equal and opposite reaction force which acts simultaneously. This is the statement of third law. I repeat the statement: every action force has an equal and opposite reaction force which acts simultaneously. Then example for this: launching of rocket and gun recoil. These are the two examples for this. But there are some important points during this forces, action force and reaction forces, in which first important point is action and reaction are terms that expresses the force. Second important point is these forces acts in pair. One force can't exist by itself. And third one, most important, the action and reaction force acts on a different object. They do not act on the same object. In this way, the Newton states is third law and its a explanation. After the statement of Newton's third law, we have to study a second one concept, that is the law of conservation of momentum. Law of conservation of momentum. To understand this concept, we have to suppose an object A. Object A has a mass m1 and its initial velocity is u1, and other object B has mass m2 and initial velocity u2. According to the formula of momentum, the initial momentum of object A is m1 u1 and that of the B is m2 u2. Suppose these two objects collides. Let the force on A due to B be F1. This force will causes acceleration in A and its velocity becomes v1. Therefore, the momentum of A after collision is equal to m1 v1. According to Newton's third law of motion, A also exerts an equal force on B but in the opposite direction. This will causes a change in momentum of B if its velocity after collision is v2. The momentum of B after collision is equal to m2 v2. If F2 is the force that acts on object B, then F1 is equal to F2 is equal to minus F1. Here, according to Newton's second law, F is equal to ma. So here F is replaced with ma. Therefore, m2 a2 is equal to minus m1 a1. Therefore, here again A means acceleration and it is again converted into its equation, that is that is final velocity minus initial velocity upon t. So the equation becomes m2 into v2 minus u2 upon t is equal to minus m1 into v1 minus u1 upon t. Therefore, here the t which is situated at denominator is cancelled one another. So equation becomes m2 is m2 into bracket v2 minus u2 is equal to minus m1 into bracket v1 minus u1. Therefore, m2 v2 minus m2 u2 is equal to minus m1 v1 plus m1 u1. By changing it, the equation becomes m2 v2 plus m1 v1 is equal to m1 u1 plus m2 u2. This is the final expression for the law of conservation of momentum. This means that the magnitude of total final momentum is equal to the magnitude of total initial momentum. I repeat, the magnitude of total final momentum is equal to the magnitude of total initial momentum. Thus, if no external force is act on two objects, then their total initial momentum is equal to their total final momentum. When no external force acts on two interacting objects, their total momentum remains constant. It does not changes. Thank you.